Depuis 2010, nous écrivons sur la cause qui vous tient à cœur dans le magazine Afri Impact. Since 2010, we have been writing about the cause that is close to your heart in the magazine Afri Impact. Il y a 4 ans, nous vous célébrons pour la cause dans laquelle vous excellez avec le prix Afri Impact, la célébration des personnes influentes. 4 years ago, we are celebrating you for the cause in which you excel with the Afri Impact Magazine Awards, the celebration of influential people. Ça fait 2 ans, nous avons ajouté une voix et une image à votre cause à travers Afri Impact Radio et Télévision. It's been 2 years since we added a voice and an image to your cause through Afri Impact Radio and Television. Venez écouter les autres parler de leur cause. Découvrez la vôtre. Come listen to others talk about their cause. Discover yours. Abonnez-vous gratuitement à Afri Impact Magazine YouTube Channel TV. Subscribe for free to Afri Impact Magazine YouTube Channel TV. Partagez votre cause avec le monde. Ici, seulement, à Afri Impact Magazine. Share your cause with the world. Here at Afri Impact Magazine YouTube channel.
Hi, we're receiving Minister Catherine Garani Hara, Minister of Health in Malawi.
Yes.
Minister, health is a problem in Africa. How are you dealing with HIV/AIDS, which is a real problem in Africa? How are you dealing with that?
Thank you very much. Indeed, HIV/AIDS is a big problem in Africa, especially the sub-Saharan Africa. It is actually the highest in the world, and Malawi is among those that have got a very high prevalence rate. But I'm pleased to inform you that efforts that have been taken are actually helping, because as you are talking, the prevalence rate on HIV has dropped from 20%, we are now at 12%, and actually these figures might even go somewhere around 11 or 10. So we are glad that the prevalence rate is going down, and people are not dying as they used to, because we now have the ARTs, the therapies, which are helping people to live longer. So we're grateful to the various partners that have assisted Malawi as a country to put everybody who is HIV positive and developing AIDS to actually be on these life-prolonging drugs. So we, in a way, we have positively actually combated some of the problems because of the various assistance that we're getting. But suffice to say that we still have quite a number of challenges, in a sense that the people who are actually suffering, especially those that are poor, have got a problem, because it's not just about them taking drugs, it's about their nutrition, it's about them having the required food intake, because if you're HIV positive, some of them tend to have ailments which need proper and good diet, which is not easy in a poverty-stricken country like Malawi.
So this notion of good health, good nutrition and all those stuff is still the same, the right thing? Because I heard it with Mr. Mbeki in South Africa, which means if you're eating good, you can not be contaminated. Is it that kind of notion what you're talking about?
No. In my country, we first and foremost, the priority is ART. Good health is additional to it. So for example, we expect somebody to eat the basic, proper nutrition food. So it's not saying nutrition in replacement of ART, no. ART plus good nutrition. that's what we advocate. We're not replacing ERG with good health. We want both of them to go.
Minister, how is Malawi fighting poverty?
Indeed, that is a very good question. Underlying all these problems, it's indeed the poverty issue. And as government, let me hasten to say that the president of Malawi has put in programs that will help us reduce the poverty levels. But this, as a government, it's been done in so many interventions because the poverty levels are very high. 80% of the people are living below $1 a day, and that on its own is a big challenge. Now, there are interventions to do food security, because that's one area that government has identified to say the only way we can ensure that these people are moved out of poverty is when they're food secure. That is first and most important thing. Secondly, is for them to actually generate our own wealth as a country, because as we are, most of our wealth is dependent on receiving from donor partners. So as a government, we've come to an agreement to say we need to find a way of getting wealth to the people. And we have identified sectors that we think we critically need to work in. First and foremost, the energy sector, which we think as government, if we can generate more energy sources, that will help investors to come and invest in our country. There's mining, there's tourism, and the agriculture sector itself. So these are the areas that have been identified in what we call economic recovery plan, that we feel if these sectors are looked after well, and if these sectors are pushed, we should be able to get money to the people. So that's the path that the country is taking. But obviously, that is going to be a long path for us to actually start looking at feeling the results, because as I said, a lot of Malawians are living below the poverty line. Now, to move somebody below the poverty line to a normal standard is not a job.
Is education still a problem?
Education is still a problem because a lot of, in terms of access, there's quite a lot of challenges in terms of the classrooms. Even the schools that we have, the conditions that are in are not conducive for a lot of children to go and learn. Most of the students sit on the floor. That on its own is a demotivating factor. We don't have as many teachers as we would require. Teacher-pupil ratio is very, very high. We have one teacher versus 100 students, and that is quite a challenge. And those are the issues that we're trying to address by ensuring that we train more and more teachers to reduce the teacher-pupil ratio. Even in terms of materials, for learning materials, it's also another challenge. So the distances between the schools on its own is also another big challenge. So education is still a big challenge, but it's still one of the very critical priorities as a government that we want to ensure that we address.
If we want to give hope today to the youth in Malawi, what would you tell them in terms of education and health?
Well, in terms of education and health, if you have good health, you can almost do anything. So first and foremost is for them to have a good health. Now, good health is not just about going to the hospital. Good health is about making sure you don't get yourself to the hospital. And how you do that is making sure you're following the preventive healthcare path. That's one thing that is a big challenge, because preventive health is a very difficult thing for people to accept. But that's a route that we want to take. If you can prevent yourself from getting sick, then we have sorted out half of our problem. So that's an area that we're trying to advocate more, to get a lot of the citizens to actually prevent themselves from actually getting sick. For example, malaria is a big issue. But if somebody sleeps under a net constantly, it is possible for them not to get malaria. On its own, that assists the government and the citizens themselves, because it means they have more time to spend in their gardens, they have more time to spend to go to school. So for the youth, what we're trying to say is for them to have a change of attitude. Instead of them thinking, it does not matter even if I don't look after myself, I'll go to the hospital, is to say, let me look after myself so that I don't have to go to hospital. So that is something that we're working on in terms of awareness, because it's a change of attitude issue. So that is, change of attitude is something that is not easy to do, but I think we'll be able to get there because the young generation is actually becoming much more sophisticated. And then the education comes in a sense that we actually want to have a lot of change in the curriculums of the school. For example, in HIV and AIDS. That has been incorporated in the curriculum, but I think we need to do more because we need the young generation to actually learn about HIV/AIDS as young as possible. By the time they actually become sexually active, they already know the consequences if they have unprotected sex. So we are putting that in the curriculum and trying to make sure it is enhanced. And the education itself, which, as I've said, if we make it so comprehensive, a lot of the young generation will be able to learn, for example, about malaria, pneumonia, and for the girl child it's even better because they'll be able to know their consequences of them, let's say, bearing children quite early because their bodies are not mature enough, and we have issues to do with fistula and so many other issues. So it is very, very important and very correlative.
March 8th is the day we celebrate women in the world. But don't we have to celebrate women every day?
I think we have to celebrate women every day, but there's always a climax for everything. So probably that was the idea to say, yes, we should celebrate the woman every day, but the climax of it probably, that's what is coming on the 8th. But I think it's also important because that's a day that it raises awareness to still say, yes, we have progressed in life as a globe, as a world, but we still have huge challenges with women, especially in the developing countries because of lack of education, the cultural practices, the tradition. So we are supposed to celebrate women every day, yes, but we need to have a climax.
Thank you very much, Minister Catherine Gutani Hari, Minister of Health of Malawi. Thanks for your time.